Hi everyone, I'm Emily Hainze. I'm a postdoctoral fellow at Kilachand Honors College. I teach in the first year, the third year, and the fourth year curricula. And we are here today to talk to you about the fourth year learning experience at Kilachand. And with me today is my wonderful student, Deema. And Deema, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure. So I'm Deema. I'm a senior in biomedical engineering and also in Kilachand Honors College. And I'm Egyptian American and I live in Virginia.
Wonderful. Thanks, Deema. So I want to start our conversation by talking a little bit about the main coursework in the senior year for Kilachand students, which is the People in Process course sequence. And so this is a sequence where students take one seminar per semester. And in the first semester, they study the life of a major historical figure who's had a big social impact in their sort of societal context. And there's a hugely wide range of figures that have been studied. I'm thinking right now of Malcolm X as one example. Who did you study last semester?
I studied Joan of Arc.
Oh, that is amazing. That sounds fascinating. Right, and so students are really delving deeply into the historical context, sort of the change that each of these figures have made. And then in the second semester of the senior year, sort of switch to thinking about the lives of people who haven't been necessarily as recognized by the historical record, but who have had a huge impact on others' lives. And so Deema, what has your experience been like overall in the People in Process course?
So it's been really interesting how these classes about other people have prompted me to do so much introspection. So in my first sequence with Joan of Arc, not only did I learn about the impacts of feminism in medieval times, but I also got to reflect on my own perceptions of feminism. And I think that really shaped my personality, especially senior year.
Yeah.
And it felt a little bit like a studio and a seminar combined. And now with this semester's People in Process class, I'm not just honing my verbal skills, but I'm reflecting on my father, for instance, so people who've impacted my own life and how maybe I want to impact others as well.
That's a lovely reflection process. The other main component of the fourth year Kilachand is the Keystone Project. And this is really one of the most exciting parts of the Kilachand curriculum to me as an instructor. I don't know about you, Deema, but as a student, yeah.
It's a great opportunity to have, for sure.
Exactly. So this is basically when students undertake independent research, under faculty supervision, and develop their own projects. Either work individually or collaboratively on that project. And it can be a traditional academic essay, but oftentimes Keystone projects take really different creative forms. You could be working in a lab. You could be some examples of past students' projects. You could be like working on a documentary. So there was a documentary on aging, music, and memory that a student undertook. You could create a children's book. There's a student who actually wrote a children's book on children's fear of medicine and how to address that. So anyways, Deema, why don't you tell us about the research that you're doing for the Keystone Project?
Yeah, sure. So as an engineering major, I'm doing my Keystone through senior design with the support of Kilachand. And I'm working with a company in Cambridge called Draper. And we're studying preeclampsia by developing a device that allows us to study a little part of the physiological environment that's relevant to that disease. And essentially I became interested because I wanted to challenge myself and do a new field of engineering that I'd never experienced before. And I also wanted to start working with some industry people. And I knew that this was an opportunity I wouldn't really get following college. So I just thought it was an awesome thing to pursue. And while it's a highly technical challenge, I think it also involves a lot of creativity. And I've thought a lot about the broader impact of what this research would have and like how our work situates itself into a scientific conversation. And honestly, like I feel like Kilachand has enabled me to think more about, the work that we do and how that situates itself into the world. So that's been really cool.
Yeah, that's incredible. And all right. And another thing to note about the fourth year in Kilachand is that as students are undertaking these really significant Keystone projects, they're not doing it by themselves. So there's a lot of support for doing this creative research, and that really actually starts in the junior year when students take a course called 451, which is a proposal development workshop where you're figuring out what you actually want to focus on for your Keystone, and you're also finding an advisor, talking to your peers about what they're doing. And for me as an instructor, that's been really exciting because that's where you see kids come in with this really wonderful array of brilliant ideas and come to focus on one research question that is really meaningful for them and think about how they're actually going to implement that in the real world and come up with a concrete research plan. And then last but not least, I'm curious to hear about sort of your overall evolution in Kilachand Deema. So I've known Deema since she was a first year in my studio writing class, where she had all these really engaging interests in disciplines from engineering to art to dance. So I'm wondering like how you fit those together and maybe even what your first year self would say to your fourth year self that they would be excited by. And yeah, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I've had a lot of interest just growing up and in high school and things like that. And coming into college, I didn't want to have a different experience from that. So, I came into Kilshawn because liberal arts was my background, and venturing into this new side of STEM was very intimidating. I wanted a safe place where I could still interact with people who were from different disciplines and just a space that encouraged me to think outside of my major because I knew that my classes would kind of have a grip on me. And I never wanted to lose sight of the broader context of life and education. And honestly, I never did. By the end of the 4 years, I really didn't. And I've been thinking a lot about just the radical freedom that I've experienced, being able to just be myself and embrace change. And I think that has been the biggest thing looking back that has been different about me. So like at first, change was really terrifying to me. It didn't come easy. And now looking back, I'm a totally different person than I expected. And traditionally, I feel like I was very rigid in terms of how I wanted to be perceived by the world and the kind of person that I wanted to be and the impact I wanted to make.
Mhm.
And Kilshawn taught me that like it's okay to change and change is good. And the people around me taught me that change is good and different perspectives are amazing. And I'm really proud of where I've come and how far I've come, just in that journey alone.
Wow,
So,
that,
yeah.
that is incredibly inspiring to hear.
Thanks.
I think that's an example to all of us. And I would say, having students like you in the classroom um, as an instructor really challenges me too to sort of collaborate with you, to change my own views, to have a sort of exchange of ideas has been probably the most meaningful part of teaching here. So yeah, thank you so
Awesome.
much for talking to me today,
Of
Deema.
course.
It's
Thank
been
you
a
for having
wonderful
me.
conversation. Yeah.